Okay, servers' wages. So 1/3 of our class have previously been servers. Now, that means you've worked in a restaurant and you've waited for tables and you've served customers, right? Now, what if I told you that me as a customer, I didn't want to tip you, but you did a great job, right? That would be bad because you put all the effort into that table, which was probably there for about an hour, maybe more, and you only got paid about $2.15 for that 1 hour. Now, one way we could solve this is by increasing the server's minimum wage, and that's what I want to do. I want to increase the server's minimum wage. Now, 36% of the class in a survey I gave said that they felt pressured to tip. Now, that's already a problem. That should be a 0% number. Like, that just shouldn't exist in general, but it does. This is obviously because servers in general, they don't get paid enough unless they get tipped. Servers rely on the customer's tip to pay for their bills. So, working in the workforce, like I do, I know how important it is to be able to predict your own paycheck. So if I got weekly hours, I can predict my paycheck, so I know how much I can save and how much I could spend for the next week, while also being able to pay my bills and having enough money in case of an emergency. Now, some things I want to talk about is that hourly pay will provide paycheck stability. Slow or bad nights does not mean that you won't get paid as much, and customer pressure can be taken away with hourly pay. So first, I want to talk about paycheck stability. So paychecks, if you work hourly, you're going to have a predictable pay. You don't have to worry about the customer's tip, and you'll be able to budget. Now, this is good, so you can save. Budgeting helps you save. Budgeting will help you put money into other things while being able to pay for everything you need to. If you are getting paid by tips, you're completely reliant on the customer to pay for your salary. If the customer doesn't pay for your salary, the restaurant will bring you up to the state's minimum wage, which here in Georgia is $7.25, and that is just not enough for what servers and waitresses have to do. Waiters and waitresses have to do. So with hourly, you're not going to have to worry about that customer tip. You'll be able to predict your paycheck based on how many hours you have, and you'll be able to budget based off of that. So hard work and good pay. Not all servers get paid the same. If one server had 20 hours in 1 week, another one had 20 hours in that same week, it is almost 100% guaranteed they will get paid completely different. Let's say this one server got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and the other one got Thursday, Friday, Saturday. The Thursday, Friday, Saturday worker is going to get paid a lot more than the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. That's because weekdays are very uncommon for customers to come in compared to weekends in a restaurant. So without that customer tip, they're not going to get paid as much for that day while they put in the same amount of hours and the same amount of work. Hourly is going to remove those worries in general, and specific days like weekends and weekdays, they will not matter anymore, since you'll get paid accordingly. Another thing I want to talk about is that when servers get paid a livable wage, the customers have less pressure to pay, and the servers have less pressure to convince the customer to give them a good tip. So the server will be able to provide the same kind of experience without the stress of the customer not tipping them and knowing that they're going to have a livable wage by the end of it. Sometimes customers' experience is ruined just because they have to tip on the 15-25% rule, which just shouldn't happen in general. If customers don't tip, they could save cash. Let's say if you if you yourself went to a restaurant and you bought a $30 meal, instead of paying 25% extra on that, including tax, you can just pay that tax and leave, and you'll save that extra amount of tip money for something else or another meal, while the server is still getting paid enough to have a livable wage. But one thing I do want to say is that just because the server is now getting paid above minimum wage, it does not mean that you shouldn't need to tip them. Of course, you don't need to tip them, but if they did an amazing job and you want to show gratitude, of course you can tip them. And finally, to conclude, hourly pay is just better than tip pay overall. Hourly does not mean you're completely excluded from tips, they'll just be a little bit more rare. You'll be able to predict your paychecks when needed, and you'll be able to budget. And on slow days, you're not going to have to stress anymore about, am I going to get enough money to pay for the bills at the end of the month? Or am I going to be able to eat today? You won't have to skip any more meals. And then work is going to be compensated for how many hours you work, guaranteed. And you're going to have tips on the side to help you with that. And then overall pressure is going to be lowered. The stress is not going to be there anymore. And 80% of the class said that they'd rather work hourly, so join us in working hourly pay.